All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're live. Shout out to Most High. You know what we do here. We talk boxing. I was supposed to talk about boxing for a while. Over the weekend, I saw most of the fights over the weekend. So I want to talk and discuss the results, the fights, etc., things circulating around it, and just give you an update on what is happening with this channel. So first and foremost, let's get to the weekend fights, shall we? I'm just looking across here. Happening with this channel. So first and foremost, okay. So I'm watching another screen over here. That's why sometimes you see me look across. Weekend fights. Let's talk about, first of all, Jaime Munguia versus Dennis Hogan. That actually turned out to be a nice fight. It was a decent fight. Dennis Hogan came to fight. And Jaime Munguia kept on getting hit repeatedly with the left hook. I don't know why this dude didn't make an adjustment to that. He was getting clocked with the left hook. It was like a life and death battle between those two, even though I thought Munguia did win the fight. But I can understand Dennis Hogan feeling that he could have won the fight. It was that kind of close battle. I thought Munguia, though, was more the bully guy walking down Hogan. Hogan was more the boxer. So you had the bull and the matador, even though Munguia is more known as a boxer. So what did I think of the fight? I thought Munguia won the fight, but I thought also I only saw highlights of the fight, by the way. I didn't see the whole entire fight. I thought Hogan brought it, and I thought Hogan hurt Munguia a number of times in the later parts of the fight. I think in the 10th round, he hurt Munguia. It was the 11th. I can't remember. And he hurt him again I believe, in the 11th round. So it was the 10th and the 11th round. I think he hurt Munguia pretty bad. Good fight. I don't consider Munguia like on the level of a Charlo or on the level of, say, a Lara, or on the level of the man at super welterweight right now, who may move up to middleweight, right? He's the guy that has most of the unified belts. So I don't really consider him on the level of those guys. But he's doing what he does. You know, he's doing his thing. So that's basically it for Jaime Munguia versus Dennis Hogan. Now, Sergey Derevyanchenko versus Jack Culcay was a good-ass fight. A lot of people, again, were saying that Jack Culcay won that fight. Some people, at least. I didn't see that. I saw Derevyanchenko win the fight, but I had it 115-113. It was a close fight. Yes, later down the stretch, Culcay did hurt Derevyanchenko. Some can argue that he dropped him. I didn't see it drop, really. I thought that he tripped over Culcay's foot. He tripped over his foot. But it depends on how you look at that. Oh, hold on a second. All right. Shout out to Jackson the Hopeful. I'm going to get to you in a minute. I'm going to get to Claressa Shields versus Christina Hammer in a minute. But first of all, yeah. So I was saying that Derevyanchenko versus Jack Culcay, that was a good-ass fight. I thought Derevyanchenko, really, Culcay took like the first 3 rounds. That was Culcay all the way. And Culcay can box. I think he actually had a close fight with Demetrius Andrade, split decision loss. And I thought this fight was more of a fight where it was a majority decision win to Derevyanchenko, but I thought 2 of the judges had it a little bit too wide. 8-4 was not what I thought. I saw what the 3rd judge said, 115-113. It was that close a fight. And I explain, I'm breaking down the rounds. So I thought that Derevyanchenko started picking it up in the 4th round. I thought Derevyanchenko he swept basically, he swept almost every round until we got to, I think it's the 10th or the 11th round. I can't remember which one it was. I thought he lost the 10th, and I think he lost the 11th, and I think he took the 12th. So that's why I had it 7-5. It was a close fight. I thought that, I want to see a little bit more of Jack Culcay. I would like to see a little bit more of Dennis Hogan. I thought those matches were really good. Peter Quillen versus Caleb Truax. We all know in the 4th round there was a headbutt, and that fight stopped. Sad, but it is what it is. So we're going to talk about a couple other people. I did not see Gilberto Ramirez versus Tommy Karpency. I didn't see that fight. Sorry. But I did see Lomachenko versus Anthony Corolla. I did see Claressa Shields versus Christina Hammer. So we're going to talk about that. Those are the 2 major fights of the weekend that we really want to talk about. But there were also some other fights that were pretty interesting. Sam Sullivan still fighting. I think he's still at middleweight. The Sam Sullivan faced Mark Lucas, and he got a win over that, as well as we had Ramon Alvarez, who is Canelo Alvarez's brother. Excuse me. Yeah, a win over Jose Carlos Paz. So those are just things worth noting. I didn't see the fights. Getting to the main fights that we want to talk about. Let's first talk about Vasily Lomachenko versus Anthony Corolla. I always tell you guys, it's about being first, okay? In fights, it's about being first. So before I get to that, Jackson the Hopeful said Claressa Shields beat that ass. I'm gonna talk about Claressa Shields versus Christina Hammer very soon. I already predicted Claressa Shields was gonna win, but I'm gonna give y'all a little breakdown on what I saw in that fight. But let's go to Lomachenko versus Anthony Corolla. Being first, Lomachenko was first all the time. He established his jab, and if you let Lomachenko establish himself in a fight, he's just going to take over the fight. But the problem with Anthony Corolla was this. There were two major problems. Anthony Corolla, he puts on air muffs. He doesn't really do the two guard like this. The second thing is Anthony Corolla was trying to put on air muffs. You have to throw something back. You look at Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence Jr., right? And you see the different caliber of kind of opponents that we're looking at. Mikey Garcia was able to catch Errol Spence with check hooks, with straight right hooks and straight rights, lead rights. He would catch and shoot. Lomachenko, facing against Anthony Corolla, Corolla was, one, headhunting too much, not going to the body too much. But guys moving around a lot, you want to go to the body. Secondly, the other thing about him was he's hardly throwing punches. Now, people were saying, well, it's because of Lomachenko and his feints and stuff. I said, no. The problem with it is he never established his jab. And the punches that he connected on Lomachenko with, and he did connect with Lomachenko a couple times in that fight, were straight rights. Okay? What is the kryptonite to a southpaw? Straight right. And once he had foot position on Lomachenko always using lead foot position, he could land those straight rights. So Lomachenko was having fun with Anthony Corolla, and Anthony Corolla, I never thought of him as one exceptional fighter or anything. But he was having fun with Anthony Corolla because Anthony Corolla wasn't throwing anything. He wasn't throwing anything at all. And if you're going to have a guy back you up into a corner, hopefully it's because you're setting a trap for him, not because you're trying to survive. And Anthony Corolla was trying to survive. He didn't know, he didn't understand what he had to do with Lomachenko. He didn't know how to change levels. He didn't know how to set up his lead right off of Lomachenko's jab. He didn't know how to be first. He didn't know how to do any of those things. He knew how to do a little bit of lateral movement with the air muffs on, not even the two guard. Not even, he was like this instead of this, right? So Lomachenko steamrolled through him, which we all knew was going to happen. But the important thing, of course, Jack Reese had. They thought he had stopped the fight. He hadn't stopped the fight the first time. It was a knockdown he saw. Now Corolla, amazingly, his defense was pretty good because Lomachenko couldn't really land much of anything on him until somewhere around the third round, and then the fourth round he got rid of him. How he got rid of Lomachenko, Corolla, was very simple. He caught him. He started off with a left. He's the opposite of what we do, which is right hand, left hook. So Lomachenko came out to finish him off, and he was just continuously doing left hand, right hook combinations. He thought he had Corolla hurt. He thought he could get him out of there. Corolla, on the other hand, should have been looking between those spaces for those the shots that Lomachenko was trying to throw. He should have been trying to find in between the spaces, time Lomachenko, and caught him while Lomachenko was trying to stop Corolla. Let me explain. Lomachenko, as I said before, he has excessive foot movement. That's one thing. But the second thing is Lomachenko gets caught with the lead right. It's kryptonite for him. He gets caught with the lead right. That's how he got put down. So the last couple of fights I saw, he gets caught with the lead right. All right? If you're a technical boxer, you're going to catch him because Lomachenko has to come inside on you. The other thing that was really sad was that Anthony Corolla has this long reach, longer reach than Lomachenko. Never use it to keep Lomachenko at bay. Yes, Lomachenko moves around a lot on the outside, but he has to find a point of entry to get on the inside. Yes, he does use feints to get on the inside, But at the same time, with his hand fake, foot fake, whatever, you have to be able to use your jab to keep him at the end of your stick, which Anthony Corolla never did because he never established a jab. His lead or lead right. So Lomachenko has interesting foot movement, but he has to close the gap to get on the inside mid-range to deal with you. And that's his kryptonite right there. You can get him on the outside, you keep him on the outside, or you get really tight up to him on the inside, and Lomachenko will have no answer for you. It's just what it is. So it seems as though he's an exceptionally great fighter and so on, because he's been facing these okay opponents. You know, Nicholas Walters didn't know how to pivot with him. So he was able to out-pivot Nicholas and had fun with him. All right, Nicholas will never face the southpaw. You know, Guillermo Rigondeaux was too small. Okay, it's just what it is. But we never use that as an excuse. You know, Rigondeaux was a quality fighter. He just was back. He just was outworked by Lomachenko. So at the end of the day, Lomachenko wins another fight. I personally think that there are boxers out there. I can name a couple of them. I'm pretty sure Mikey Garcia can stop him. I'm pretty sure that Gervonta Davis would stop him. Not stop him, but beat him up. Because I seen Lomachenko's face when he got beat up by Pedraza. And Pedraza was beaten up by Gervonta Davis rather quickly. Okay. The other thing is, the other person I want to talk about is Teofimo Lopez. Now, Teofimo Lopez is probably a smart fighter. I don't think he has a lot of fights under his belt, and therefore he doesn't have a lot of experience at the pro level. But the way Teofimo Lopez speaks, it'd be interesting to see how he would match up against Lomachenko. So, you know, I'm very interested in seeing how that pans out. Jackson the Hopeful says, I heard a good point. It is damn near impossible to outbox Loma. He's always first and very fast. To beat him, you have to make him fight rough. You have to establish size advantage, unlike Walters. No. You don't have to do all of that. Like I said before, Lomachenko gets hit with the lead right quite a lot in fights. He was put down by a lead right by Linares. And Linares is nowhere in the league of Mikey Garcia in terms of a good boxer. Mikey Garcia is much better than Linares. Okay, Linares actually ducked the WBC champion at lightweight. He didn't face that dude, you know, because he just avoided him, and Mikey took him and stopped him. Okay, I'm telling you about boxing, Jackson the Hopeful. I'm not telling you about, like, you don't have to rough up Lomachenko. You have to understand what he does and what he presents to the ring. Everybody thinks Lomachenko is this great boxer. No, he's not. I don't see him that great. I see flaws in his game because he patterned his game after Manny Pacquiao's game. He's a mid-range fighter, and he has to get into range. And if you keep him from getting into range, there's nothing he can do. All right? And what he does, just like Manny Pacquiao, which is why Floyd can handle Manny Pacquiao, is he tries to change up angles as he comes, angles of approach. But he has to get on the inside somehow. So how do you deal with that? He might mix a feint or two into it, but at the end of the day, he has to get on the inside, which means if you keep him at the end of your stick, or you keep him at the end of your right hand, which will land on him. Right hands land on Lomachenko. But I'm surprised people don't realize the right hand is the key. If a slowpoke like Anthony Corolla could land a right hand on him, Linares landed a right hand on him, Pedraza landed a right hand on him. He didn't stop Pedraza, right? If these guys could land right hands on him, then you can guarantee that a skill boxer like Mikey Garcia, a skill boxer like Gervonta Davis, a skill boxer like Teofimo Lopez will land a right hand on him. And all of these guys I just mentioned, Gervonta Davis, Teofimo Lopez, they're quicker. Now, Teofimo Lopez, I seen him fight. I don't know if he's ready for Lomachenko, but he talks a talk, right? Gervonta Davis, on the other hand, that motherfucker will fuck up Lomachenko. He will fuck him up. Okay, you see how quick he is. Now, Gary Russell Jr. was fast, but he was no Gervonta Davis in terms of the understanding of boxing, the way how Gervonta Davis angles his body, moves his body, cuts angles, gets those angles for those shots, it uses his defense. Gervonta Davis, it reminds me a little of young Floyd Mayweather, just a lot more powerful, not as much movement. He's more economical in his movement. So I'm just saying, Gervonta Davis would destroy Lomachenko, and then you guys will be shocked. Okay, Mikey Garcia is another guy who will destroy Lomachenko. These guys know boxing. They're very technical with what they do, and they're very particular about the angles of approach and shit like that. So that's why Errol Spence Jr. good fighter, freaking good fighter. I heard people saying, "Oh, Terrence Crawford would have gotten rid of Mikey Garcia." Fuck no, fuck no. You have to get past the defense. And Mikey's defense is on point. You're not going to. Most of the shots that Errol Spence threw at Mikey, of those thousands of shots, thousands of punches thrown, guess what? Guess what? Very few landed on Mikey flush. That's why Mikey could leave the fight without a lot of damage to his face. He wasn't murked, he wasn't dropped, he wasn't stopped. And he's talking about his upcoming fight with Eric Morales now. What do you call it? Exhibition match. He's talking about that, okay? And his face looks fine. He looks fine because Mikey Garcia basically didn't take much punishment against Errol Spence. As much as everybody's saying, "Oh, he took a lot of punishment," that's bullshit, okay? Errol Spence was never going to stop Mikey Garcia. Never, okay? I guaranteed you guys that. Check out DT3 Boxing. He said the same thing, and he's a boxer. He's a guy that boxed for 20-something years. These guys like Mikey Garcia, they're defensive fighters. You're not going to stop them. You're not going to stop Mikey, okay? And Mikey uses certain angles and shit. Errol Spence was just up to the task of dealing with those angles. Lomachenko don't know nothing about that, okay? He don't know nothing about that. Y'all. Anyway, I'm not saying Lomachenko's not a great fighter. He's not a good fighter. He's good. But he's more like a Manny Pacquiao who has the fundamentals down. And Manny Pacquiao right now, I think, is a better fighter than Lomachenko because I've seen Manny Pacquiao. Still gets caught with the lead right, by the way. But Manny Pacquiao is doing things that Lomachenko don't do. And Lomachenko doesn't know anything about. All right? And Manny Pacquiao is a lot shorter than most of the opponents. Manny Pacquiao is fighting at welterweight. They're saying Lomachenko can't fight at welterweight. Why is that? He's maxed out at lightweight? Come on, man. Lomachenko's bigger than Manny Pacquiao. All right? So I don't want to hear that bullshit about Lomachenko's a better fighter than Manny Pacquiao. Not right now. Not at this time. Pacquiao's a better fighter than Lomachenko. That's the truth. I'm just saying. And you look at Pacquiao's resume, it speaks for itself. Lomachenko didn't got a resume like Pacquiao. Period. Right? So Lomachenko's a kind of fighter who his defense is his offense. That is to say, like Pacquiao, he changes up angles, and his whole thing is angles. He uses the two guard, so he'll block here at certain points in time, but he basically Manny Pacquiao with a little bit more technical ability. All right, it's the same thing. So to deal with a fighter like that, you have to keep them at range. All right, you have to keep them outside of their desired range. All right, and that's how you fix them up. Or again, it's about being first. Gervonta Davis reaction time, Floyd Mayweather's reaction time, is ridiculous. The other thing is not just being first, but also you have to have timing. That is to say, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, these guys have timing. Juan Manuel Marquez, they have timing. That's what they use. So they look for in between those gaps. Now, Lomachenko does not have a longer reach than Mikey Garcia. So whereas Errol Spence used his long leverage against Mikey Garcia to keep him at bay, and was cutting off the angles that Mikey Garcia was trying to come at him. And even though Mikey Garcia had the right idea and he was cutting good angles to get Errol Spence to come to turn to find him, the problem was he was still falling short a bit because even though he did the pivot work, he would pivot outside because he didn't want to get hit by Errol Spence. So he pivot on the outside, so he was always coming up short. So even though he was coming at a different angle at Errol Spence, he would always come up a little bit short, which is sick. I mean, Errol Spence, I can't explain to you how technically sick Errol Spence was. He was going southpaw. He was doing all kinds of things. Switch hitting and all kinds of shit he was doing inside of there against Mikey Garcia. And Mikey Garcia was doing a whole set of shit inside of there as well. And it's just like, when I talk about these guys, I have to show you guys, break down piece by piece, part by part, so you guys can see what it is I'm talking about. All right, Jackson Hopeful says, Gervonta Davis, Garcia, and Lopez would all have good chances against Loma. Davis lands that shot that Linares KO'd Loma with. Loma goes to sleep. That's the thing. He's open for the lead right. He's open for the lead right all day. Loma doesn't really move his head. He doesn't really move his head. He don't change head slot positions like Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao on the aggression doesn't move his head. So it's a similar style to Manny Pacquiao. He's just a technically more sound, uses a little bit more feints. You know what I'm saying? But by and large, you saw what Gervonta Davis did to Pedraza, who's a very difficult opponent. You saw how difficult Pedraza was against Loma. That should tell you everything you need to know. His face in his career has been Guillermo Rigondeaux. Then next in line would be Linares, and then next in line would be Pedraza. All right. You saw what Gervonta Davis did to Pedraza. All right. You saw what he did to Pedraza, so you don't have any. You shouldn't have any doubts in your mind about just how good Gervonta Davis is. Anywho, moving on. So Lomachenko, he was able to basically keep Anthony Corolla's hands to himself, keep his hands home. Corolla was headhunting, so Lomachenko would just simply roll under the punches that, the hooks and stuff that Corolla would be throwing. Dusted Corolla in the 4th round. Had him going up against the ropes. But mind you, Corolla wasn't damaged in the 3rd round. But in the 4th round, Loma decided to use the left hand right hook, because he's southpaw, not right hand left hook, and he was just going at him. And this was the point at which, if Corolla was really paying attention, he would have been able to catch Lomachenko in between those shots that he was trying to set up. But dude didn't know how to do that. He just didn't have the skill set to do that. So it is what it is. Moving on to the other fight. The other fight that I thought is interesting was Claressa Shields versus Christina Hammer. Now, everybody's talking about Shields destroyed Hammer. Sort of, kind of, not really. Okay, Hammer was actually landing punches on Shields, especially the lead right, the jab and the lead right. She was landing it. Yes, Christina Hammer is kind of a one-trick pony. Her thing is the jab. She really basically goes straight down the center, right hand. Sometimes it's just right hand, left hook, but mostly it's jab, right hand, right? Jab, jab, right hand, whatever. So she's monotone, and she mostly goes for the head. She doesn't do body work. Now, the thing with Christina Hammer is she don't really got power to hurt Claressa Shields. So yeah, Claressa Shields did a little bit better in terms of she was bobbing under shots and rolling shots. That's basically what she was doing. But to be honest with you, she still did not impress me. Okay, people were talking about she was more technical and stuff. Not really. Hammer just wasn't as strong as Claressa Shields was. And I explained to people, Claressa Shields is a beast. She's strong. She's very strong, so she can bully. And she started bullying Christina Hammer. I think she really started getting into her in around the 10th round, 11th round. Hammer took the 12th. But Shields basically, and the problem with Hammer is Hammer throw punches, hit Shields, and Shields didn't feel nothing. They just keep coming, right? My thing is, Shields should have gotten Hammer out of there, okay? That's honestly, Shields should have gotten Hammer out of there, okay? I'll tell you why. Hammer didn't bring to the table anything that physically could hurt Shields, right? Physically, Shields was walking through stuff that Hammer was doing to her and walking her down. Hammer was boxing on the outside, keep on boxing around her. Now, however, once again, Claressa Shields gets caught with the left hook, gets caught with the right uppercut, gets caught with the lead right. She's walking through those things, but she's being hit with those shots. The same shots that Hannah Gabriels was hitting her with throughout that fight, in which I argue Hannah Gabriels won that fight. Claressa Shields roughed her up, right? But Claressa Shields wasn't landing shit, okay? My point being this. Everybody's talking about, oh, Claressa Shields, look, she can box. But to me, it's the same Claressa Shields. I haven't seen no improvement. Now, unless some of you guys are praising her and stuff, that's okay. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, I didn't see much different because she's defensively, she's still getting hit with the same shots that Hannah Gabriels hit her with. That's just my thoughts on that. Claressa Shields also roughed up Christina Hammer on the inside. When Christina Hammer was trying to lock up and tie her up, again, Claressa Shields was able to rough her up and hit her with shots on the inside, even though the referee was saying don't hit under. She was hitting her, okay? So it was basically a roughing up so that Christina Hammer was tired in the later rounds because she had gotten beaten up physically, because Claressa Shields is brutally strong and roughs you up. And so basically that's it. It's bullying tactics I saw mostly in that fight. Yes, technically she was doing one or two things a little bit more than she did in Hannah Gabriel's fight because she was outclassed by Hannah Gabriel's, in my opinion. She did catch, don't get me wrong, she did catch Hannah Gabriel's as well as except for the I think it was the 10th, the 9th or 10th or the 10th or 11th round. I can't remember which one it was. So that's my opinion on it. Now, everybody's praising Claressa Shields and giving her the praises, which she deserves. She's a unified middleweight champion of the world. But for me to say that Claressa Shields is on the level of a Hannah Gabriel's in terms of boxing, or on the level of other boxers who are in other divisions, who I think are better boxers than she is, I'm not going to say that. Hannah Gabriel's, I think, is a better boxer than Claressa Shields. Hannah Gabriel's, who came up from 154 to face Claressa Shields, or I think they fought at 154, and Claressa Shields was a big 154. I can't remember which one it is. But Hannah Gabriel's, in my opinion, is a supremely better boxer than Claressa Shields. And one thing I would tell Hannah Gabriel's is she needs to work on her conditioning so she can be stronger. It's kind of like Buddy McGirt versus Mildred Taylor. Buddy McGirt was a much better boxer than Mildred Taylor. But Mildred Taylor was a much stronger boxer than Buddy McGirt. So he was able to break down Buddy McGirt by roughing him up. And over time, Buddy McGirt got tired because he was getting roughed up so much. And he got knocked out. Okay? So it's that. Conditioning, that's one thing with Floyd Mayweather. You couldn't rough up Floyd Mayweather like that because he was hard. He was conditioned so well for every single fight and when he wasn't even in fighting, he felt like a rock. So they always said that Floyd is stronger than he appears to be when you get in the ring with him. Floyd's a very strong boxer. You have to have strength as well as you must have skill. It's not just about skill. So there's all these things. Like people talk about, Sugar Ray Leonard would knock out Floyd Mayweather. I'm like, fuck no. Nobody's ever knocked out Floyd Mayweather. 1. 2, Floyd Mayweather's strong. He's a strong motherfucker. And it's only when you get into the ring you realize how strong that motherfucker is. He's not his dad. His dad was quick and everything, but he wasn't strong. You know what I'm saying? And his father stayed in the pocket too long. Floyd wouldn't stay in the pocket all the time. Floyd moves. He has better footwork than his father did. My point anyway is this, that when you talk about Floyd Mayweather versus Sugar Ray Leonard, Leonard's the old school. The way how the defense of Leonard that they are, Floyd Mayweather and all these modern day fighters have better defense, inbuilt defense than those guys. I explained to you guys about the inbuilt defense we had. Sugar Ray Leonard, they would do something like this. They would move out the plane, they would swivel back, swivel forward. Floyd Mayweather and Company Limited don't have to do that because their head's always out of the plane. In their stance, it's inbuilt into their stance. Buddy McGirt should know this because he was one of the few people who started adopting that style. So anyway, my point being, as much as people think Sugar Ray Leonard would find a way to win to beat Floyd, that was never going to happen. Sugar Ray Leonard would have 0 to no chance of beating Floyd because Floyd would come so well prepared, mentally would have gotten Sugar Ray Leonard's head, that by the time they actually had a fight, Floyd had already won. Okay. That's just the way Floyd was. He optimized every single asset, every single advantage he had. He would optimize it against his opponent. All right. Jackson Hope. I had people on Twitter telling me Usyk was better than Canelo and Spence. So I've been into a lot of debates this weekend. Usyk's getting big and strong for heavyweight. Usyk's a better fighter than Canelo. Fuck no. No, he's not a better fighter than Canelo. No. That's like saying Lomachenko's a better fighter than Canelo. That's not true at all. Canelo has a style that can handle different styles, all kinds of styles, including a busy style like Lomachenko or Usyk. Usyk is his busy style, so does Lomachenko. And I remember Usyk having a hell of a difficult time. Let me just put it in there. He had a hell of a difficult time against a particular opponent. I'll tell you who his name is. Michael Hunter. He didn't even stop Michael Hunter. But he did rain he rained some blows on Michael Hunter later on in the fight when Michael Hunter was slowing down. But Michael Hunter was whooping Usyk's ass. So no, Canelo is no, man. People who are saying that, they don't understand what Canelo brings to the table. They don't understand what Errol Spence brings to the table. Usyk ain't doing that shit to Errol Spence, and he's not doing that shit to Canelo. Okay, because those guys can cut angles. It's all about angles. Usyk, once again, Dmitry Bivol, Usyk, Gavordik, Lomachenko, they all have a sort of busy style. I think Bivol's the best in all of them because Bivol literally he doesn't have excessive foot movement at all. Like, he's very economical with his foot movement. I think Bivol's the better boxer of all of them. But even Bivol, and Bivol's small, of course, he went up in weight. But even Bivol, I think he gets beat by certain opponents, you know. But anyway, let me go back to it. So Usyk is not a better boxer than Canelo, and he's certainly not a better boxer than Errol Spence. Fuck no. I'm going to give you why. Errol Spence against Mikey Garcia proved everything. That Errol Spence has fucking great pivot work. I mean, supreme pivot work, okay? Canelo has upper body movement. Upper fucking body movement like James Toney. So while Canelo doesn't always use pivot work, even though he's pretty good at pivoting as well, Canelo has upper body movement. That's the thing that it offsets everything. When you go in the ring against Canelo, you realize, oh shit. Now, Canelo is a Mexican fighter who has a lot of attributes that Floyd Mayweather has. So there's a lot in Canelo's arsenal that he has that he can use against any opponent. And why Canelo is a fucking better boxer than Usyk. Usyk got reach advantage. Canelo never has reach advantage against any opponent. When he beats Danny Jacobs, y'all gonna have to realize and respect Canelo for what he's gonna bring to the table, because Canelo brings a whole set of stuff to the table. I will tell you guys about that after his fight against Danny Jacobs. I'm not gonna say it before. So no, I don't think Usyk's a better fighter than Canelo. Hell no, and not Errol Spence either. I think they're both better fighters than Usyk. Usyk has a busy style, moves his feet a lot. He's not very economical with his feet. He's not very economical with his hands. He just keeps it busy with his hands, so you can keep your hands at home. But if you time him right, you can actually catch him in between. And we've seen that with a number of opponents who hit him and hit him good. Tony Bellew was beating his ass. He was outpointing him, beating his ass until he ran out of steam. So I'm just saying that Usyk is please don't. Usyk's unproven. Usyk was an undisputed cruiserweight champion. Who the fuck did he beat? I mean, who has he beaten? Right. So he hasn't beaten anybody on a high tier level. You know, I mean, he beat world champions, but he hasn't beaten high tier opposition like Canelo has, like Errol Spence has. You can't put Usyk in the same sentence with these guys because these guys have proven themselves at the highest level. Meaning, what I mean by that is high tier, top tier opposition these guys have beaten. Okay, the very highest. Usyk hasn't faced that kind of stuff. They're proven. He's not. So I can put Usyk above somebody who's proven. I can't. Lomachenko has a better chance of being called better than Canelo and Spence than Usyk does. Right? So, no, I don't believe that Usyk's a better fighter than Canelo or Errol Spence. And I don't think that he's a better fighter than Danny Garcia. And that's saying a lot. You would say, what? Danny Garcia's a limited fighter, blah, blah, blah. Danny Garcia has proven that he can face better competition, and he comes through. The only competition he has not come through against is Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. All right? And they have styles that if those styles were to mesh up with Usyk, a Sean Porter-like style would murk Usyk. Okay? Usyk would get murked. All right? And just a point to just let you guys know that because Usyk's a boxer, a moving boxer. All right? This is a point just to let you guys know that there's a lot more to boxing than meets the eye. Usyk was straight. Usyk against Bellew taught us everything we needed to know. The way how Bellew had all these nuances that modern boxers today have, and was able to beat Usyk. He was beating him. He was beating him and landing shots on him until he ran out of steam. And I'm just saying, Usyk is a guy who's still young in the game. You guys try to put him up on a pedestal. He's not proven like that. Lomachenko is more proven than Usyk, clearly. But Lomachenko has faced opposition that's good, but not great. Okay? Canelo has faced greats like Miguel Cotto, Floyd Mayweather. Okay? Danny Jacobs faced greats. You know, Errol Spence has faced good fighters. He's faced Kell Brook. He faced Mikey Garcia now. Show that Mikey Garcia now is level. Lamont Pearson, we got out there. So I'm just saying, when you talk about that, you have to pay attention to those kinds of facts. Jackson Open says, what round would Khan get KO'd in? I don't know, but I know he's going to get knocked out. He's going to get knocked the fuck out. And Khan thinks that, you know, he's going to be able to catch Terence Crawford with something quick. He's going to learn real fast. Terence Crawford is not a guy who you can just stop or drop like the other opposition he's able to mow through. Khan doesn't have a clue as to what he's getting himself into. And sadly, Canelo, who was much slower, he's going to be a lot slower than Terence Crawford. Canelo stopped him, right? So you know what's going to happen. And as much as people saying, you know, Khan going to make it an interesting fight, nah. Sorry, people. That ship has sailed. Khan gets hit with the overhand right with the left hook. He's going to get hit with that again, and he's going to be put to sleep. It's just what it is. All right? So that's it for the weekend fights and my synopsis of it. It's 10:14 in the night. I hope you guys have a great week ahead of you. I didn't get to talk about these fights earlier because I was busy doing other things. I don't know what round, as I said before, Khan will get knocked out in Jackson Hopeful, but I can tell you this. I guarantee you this, he's going to get knocked out. He's going to get stopped by Terence Crawford. So it is what it is. Terence Crawford is a good fighter. Again, I don't see him as pound for pound #1 in the world like everybody else is talking, because I don't see his resume proving that he's faced top-tier opposition to show that. He's faced good opposition, but not top-tier like what the welterweights in the division have had. And that you can't say that Errol Spence is the best welterweight in the world, but Terence Crawford is pound for pound #1. That's bullshit. All right? Because Terence Crawford is a welterweight right now. Errol Spence is better than him at welterweight, then Errol Spence is higher than him in the pound for pound rank. It's just what it is, in my opinion. So anyway, that's all I got to say for now. The other thing that I find really retarded was when I heard Timothy Bradley talking about how, PBC and Al Heyman, they can't make fights, and Terence Crawford and they should be able to make fights with the PBC fighters because they hold back. And when he was at Top Rank, he was a welterweight, he wanted to fight some of the guys like Keith Thurman and so on from the PBC, and he couldn't. First of all, Timothy Bradley is full of shit. And usually I agree with Timothy Bradley, but on this occasion, you're bullshitting us. We know you come from Top Rank. Who has been the last fighter that you faced that wasn't a top rank fighter? Okay? So get the fuck out of here, Timothy Bradley, with that bullshit. Secondly, you were supposed to face Kell Brook, who's not a PBC fighter, and you never did. So get the fuck out of here with that, okay? So when I hear nonsense like what Timothy Bradley is saying about, how a fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence shouldn't be blocked by Al Heyman, as if he's blaming Al Heyman, I tell Timothy Bradley, shut the fuck up, okay? Shut the fuck up. We all know it's not Al Heyman. It's the disease on boxing, fucking Bob Arum, okay? Bob Arum's the disease. Next thing I heard Bob Arum, when somebody was interviewing Bob Arum, they was talking about how, would you make Bad Blood keep the fight for Mikey Garcia facing Lomachenko happening? And Bob Arum was like, fuck Bad Blood. And I'm like, fuck you, Bob Arum, because you ain't going to set up no Lomachenko with Mikey Garcia. So get the fuck out of here. If I'll believe it when I see it, that the fight between Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko happens. Because guess what? Mikey Garcia is his own boss. Mikey Garcia has his own company. So all you got to do, Bob Arum, is contact Mikey Garcia with a proposal. And then we will see what will happen. But your motherfucking ass ain't doing that. All right? And Lomachenko is behaving like a coon-ass motherfucking bitch, too. Because he's talking and calling names. Okay, Lomachenko's calling Gervonta Davis' name. We know you ain't going to face no Gervonta Davis. You're behaving like a punk. You punking Gervonta Davis, who doesn't give a fuck about you, by the way. You know what I'm saying? You're punking it. We know you're gonna face Teofimo Lopez. That's who you're gonna face. Another top-ranked fighter. Top-ranked fighters very rarely face non-top-ranked fighters. They're facing Amir Khan. Guess what? Amir Khan was with Top Rank once upon a time. So, and what's the weird thing is, Amir, you know, Bob Arum was talking about Al Haymon's fault. If it's Al Haymon's fault that the PBC fighters are not facing top-ranked fighters, why the fuck is Amir Khan facing Terrence Crawford? So get the fuck out of here, Bob Arum, with that bullshit. And fuck Bad Blood, but bullshit again. Okay, by Bob Arum. Like I said, he's a plague. Get him out of the sport of boxing so we can just move on with our lives. Old fogey like that, just get the fuck out of the sport of boxing, okay? I remember when Bob Arum was talking about Floyd should get, somebody, I think it was Bob Arum, was talking about, you know, and people trying to praise Bob Arum. He's a Hall of Famer. Get the fuck out of here. If he's a Hall of Famer, let him retire so he can be, you know, usually Hall of Famers in the Boxing Hall of Fame are retired people. What the fuck is this dude getting accolades for? And he's still in the sport of boxing. Get the fuck out of here, Bob Arum. I don't like Bob Arum, quite frankly, because he pot shots at everybody who's not his fighter. And then I hear Leonard Ellaby and all these guys defending him. Fuck Bob Arum. Fuck him. I don't care. Fuck him. Let me tell you why. All right? You won't criticize Mikey Garcia, then you won't want him to have a fight with Lomachenko. Get the fuck out of here. All right? And then you talk about you want to see Lomachenko kick his ass. We all know, Bob Arum, that ain't going to happen. We all know if you actually make that fight between, you allow Mikey Garcia to make a fight with Lomachenko, he's going to kick Lomachenko's ass all around the ring. He's going to destroy him. All right? And that's just what it is. Right? But, of course, Bob Arum's not going to allow that to happen. He's going to punk Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia's Bob Arum's never serious about shit. And once Terrence Crawford's with Bob Arum, that fight with Errol Spence is more than likely not going to happen. And then I hear everybody talking about, you know, Terrence Crawford's the most duck guy in the division. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Okay? Terrence Crawford, all right, is not the most duck guy. You have a whole bunch of PBC fighters. Sean Porter can face Keith Thurman. He's WBC champion. Keith Thurman can face Sean Porter. Danny Garcia can face either one of them. Errol Spence can face all of those guys. You're telling me those guys would try to make a difficult fight with fucking Bob Arum, who's probably not going to want Terrence Crawford to face any of those guys. And the other bullshit I hear, and a lot of people out here talking about, and it's a lot of bullshit in my opinion, is where people are saying, oh, the fight that we really want to see is Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. And you just leave out Keith Thurman like that, or Sean Porter, or Danny Garcia. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Bob Arum goes and opens his old ass poisonous mouth and says, oh, you know, the other guys are just ordinary fighters, you know, Keith Thurman and all these guys, Sean Porter, not so much Keith Thurman, you know, he's retired now, you know, but Sean Porter. So let me get this right. Sean Porter, who's a beast, he's a fucking beast. Sean Porter versus Terrence Crawford is not a good fight. Because it's guaranteed that Terrence Crawford will beat Sean Porter. Nobody has an easy fight with Sean Porter. Ask anyone out there. Sean Porter gives every single boxer a difficult time. You telling me Sean Porter is going to have Terrence Crawford is just going to cruise past Sean Porter? Get the fuck out of here. Jackson the Hopeful says, God damn, if Garcia whoops Loma, I can't wait to hear what the fans will say. I want to hear excuses for the greatest lightweight in history, Lomachenko. No, don't put Garcia near to Lomachenko. Garcia will murk his ass. Garcia will knock him out. He'll knock him the fuck out. Lomachenko will get knocked out. Guaranteed. All right, I told you. His kryptonite is the right hand. He walks into it, and he doesn't move his head. He's going to get hit with the right hand. He's going to get hit with the right hand and put to sleep, okay? Because Mikey Garcia, he got serious power. Errol Spence respected Mikey Garcia's power, okay? So that should tell you enough. People are saying, oh, well, Mikey Garcia probably won't go back down to lightweight because he can't make it. All kinds of bullshit. People are making excuses to protect Lomachenko. It's the same bullshit they did with GGG, okay? GGG has not moved up to any division. He hasn't gone down to 154. He hasn't moved up to super middleweight. That motherfucker isn't even. I heard Canelo talking about he want to go up to 175 and face Sergey Kovalev, and he was dead serious about that. That's to tell you, Canelo's a much better motherfucking fighter than fucking GGG. All right, and everybody should know that by now. Everybody be running them out, blah 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 blah. What has GGG done? Still stuck at middleweight. Has not faced anybody at a low weight. Everybody had to come up and wait to face GGG, including Canelo. Get the fuck out of here. So fucking Loma is being treated just like how he can do no wrong, and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yet all right. I'm not hearing Bob Arum talking about how Lomachenko is boring, like how Guillermo Rodriguez now is boring. Guillermo was stopping people too, but all of a sudden, so get the fuck out of here with Bob Arum and his bullshit Top Rank. Okay. Now I'm not against his son who's running Top Rank, but Bob Arum, yeah, get that old crony motherfucker out of here, man. I don't have no respect for Bob Arum. You know what I'm saying? He is one of those guys like Jim Lampley, like Larry Merchant, that sour the sport of boxing. The sooner that motherfucker gets out of boxing, the better for us. You know what I'm saying? You know, because he's always cooning and punking people. And to me, it's just he's trying to ride off, you know, the fame of some fighter or something. And he never has something good to say about, you know, a fighter that's not his fighter. And that's, you can't say that about Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is not necessarily, he has punked Canelo. All right, he has punked Canelo and behaved like a bitch there. But for the most part, Floyd Mayweather doesn't do that as a promoter. You know, I've never heard, well, Eddie Hearn has done it a bit too. He punked bitch. I don't like that. You're being like a bitch. What are you punking a fighter for? You know what I'm saying? If you don't intend to face that fighter, what are you punking the fighter for? And it's that bullshit I can't take. So, yeah, Mikey would murk Lomachenko. Period. The other guy who would mess up Lomachenko resoundingly would be Gervonta Davis. Teofimo Lopez, we'll see what happens with him. He's talking a good talk. I saw him fight a bit. He got some looping shots, but we will see. He's entertaining, but let's just see if Teofimo Lopez knows what needs to be done to beat Lomachenko. But as I said before, Lomachenko's open for that right hand all day of the week. You know, lead right hand, mixed up with different things. You have to have a certain skill set to be able to do that against Lomachenko. You have to mix it up top to the body, to the head, to the body, to the head. So you have to mix it up, how you throw it. And that's all I got to say for now. Jason Hopeful says, Bob Arum doesn't say anything good about not just guys outside of his promo, but people in his as well. He literally just uses everybody besides Crawford and Loma as food for his bigger names. Exactly. So I don't like the bullshit that he does. I honestly don't like how he promotes. I don't like anything about Bob Arum, to be honest with you. That's the plague that's put this negative tag on Al Heyman, who is not even a fucking promoter. Everybody keeps on talking about he's a promoter. He's a fucking manager. Why would Bob Arum even have an issue with Al Heyman? Because Al Heyman is a manager. He's not even a fucking promoter. It just really pisses me off. I don't want to hear nothing from Bob Arum. Bob Arum talks about he wants to get the best fights possible. Then what the fuck we were watching Lomachenko versus Anthony Corolla for? That's not a best fight possible for Lomachenko. So get the fuck out of here, Bob Arum. You know what I'm saying? Anyways. I have to go and take care of some plants, and then I can come back inside and do some other things. But I hope you guys have a good night. Thanks again, Jackson the Hopeful, for the discussion. You know we talk boxing as much as we can, as often as we can. So I wish you guys a good night. And I'm trying to put out some more videos for you guys on some of the boxing that I wanted to break down. If you guys haven't seen some of the videos on feinting, especially, there's a lot of stuff I can tell you guys about feinting. There's all kinds of feints and all kinds of different things you can do, and it depends on how you execute a feint. So it's just a lot of things to do with feinting. That's what makes boxing so nuanced and actually so fascinating. To me, I'm still training. I got a little some reflux problems, but we're still training. We're still trying to do what we need to do. Anyway, peace to you guys. Have a good night. It's 10:27. I spent about an hour with you guys. Hope you guys have a good one. And don't forget, you can subscribe, donate to my channel. You can check my subscription feed to see channels that can help you with boxing, as well as channels that also elevate your knowledge of boxing. Okay. All right, man. You guys have a great one. Goose.